Thank you, Dave. Before I read the committee statement on the unequal impact of COVID-19 on disabled workers, I would like to let attendees know how they can engage with me. The Q&A function is open. If you have any statements, observations, or points you would like to bring to the committee's attention, please make them using the Q&A function. If there is time at the end of this session, I will try and summarise the main points made there. The unequal impact of COVID-19 on disabled workers. The coronavirus pandemic has shone a stark light on the deep and persistent structural inequalities which cut across our country. Working class families have been hit hardest by COVID-19, facing the greatest health risks and were on the front line of rising job losses. Millions of workers were forced to continue travelling into work right through the peak of the crisis, often doing vital work that remains underpaid and undervalued. We are proud of today's diverse working class. We also know that within it, Black workers, women, disabled people, and LGBT+ people have all been disproportionately affected by the coronavirus crisis. However, we also must say what we know to be true, and we must be upfront with the facts the media and the government ignore or downplay. Government data has revealed that 6 in 10 of all deaths involving COVID-19 were disabled people. To date, over 100,000 people have died. That means over 60,000 disabled people have lost their lives. We have heard excuses and explanations. We have been told those who died were old people in care homes. We have been told that those who died had serious underlying health conditions, and we've been told they had learning disabilities. These excuses, they are unacceptable. What they are actually saying is that these lives matter less than others. The excuses do not mitigate the fact that many of those who have died did not have to. Make no mistake, the government have badly botched the handling of the pandemic, and disabled people have paid the price. They paid the price often with their lives when they did not have to. And we know the pandemic is having a negative impact on disabled people in work, not just as a direct result of the virus, but also because of its impact on the economy. The UK is in recession, and all of the painful impacts disabled workers experienced in the 2008 recession are being repeated. In the 2008 to 2009 recession, disabled employees were more likely than their non-disabled colleagues to experience negative changes to their terms and conditions and working practices, such as wage freezes, reduced overtime, and the reorganisation of work. Research following on from this recession has revealed that during the economic upturns, disabled people are the last to gain employment, and during downturns, they are the first to lose their jobs. Well, conference, we are in an economic downturn, and government data is showing that disabled people are, once again, the first to be made redundant. Recent ONS data has shown that redundancy rates are 62% higher for disabled workers than their non-disabled peers. And conference, the data from the last 9 to 12 months shows an ongoing downward trend in the number of disabled people in work. Those disabled people already face significant barriers in getting and keeping jobs, as evidenced by the disability employment gap, which stands at almost 30 percentage points. This is despite the government's 2050 manifesto pledge to halve it. Although no timeframe was set for this, at the time of the pledge, the employment gap was 34 percentage points, meaning that far from halving, it has only shrunk by around 1% a year since the government outlined its ambitions. And of course, disabled workers face double discrimination. Not only are they less likely to be in work, but when they are paid less than their non-disabled peers. TUC research shows that disabled workers face a 20% pay gap, an increase from 2019. This is equivalent to earning £2.10 less an hour, or £3,800 a year based on a 35-hour working week. Recent research found that 2/5 of employers say that they were discouraged from hiring disabled job applicants because of concerns around supporting them properly during the pandemic, while a fifth, 20%, admitted they would be less likely overall to hire someone with a disability. It also found that 7 in 10 disabled workers, 71%, were affected by the pandemic, either through a loss of income, being put on furlough, or being made redundant. Research shows that disabled workers are also overrepresented in insecure work and are bearing a disproportionate burden in keeping the country running during the crisis. They are working long hours to keep shelves stocked, hospitals clean, and goods delivered to those who can't leave their homes. But these workers, who are central to the welfare of so many, are forced to work without many of the basic employment protections. Government must ban zero-hour contracts, tackle false self-employment, and guarantee all workers day one employment rights. And they must bring in mandatory disability pay gap reporting. Now is the time for unions to remind employers of the fact that failure to make reasonable adjustments for disabled workers, including adjustments to redundancy criteria and procedures, is a form of unlawful discrimination. We must demand that government take steps to ensure that disabled people are not unlawfully targeted for redundancy, and that those who want to work are appropriately supported to do so.